Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Brock's Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of February 14th, 2018, otherwise known as New Comic Book Day, otherwise known as Another Wednesday. No, it's sadly Singles Awareness Day. No, it's Valentine's Day. So, you get new books on Valentine's Day. Hopefully, you can break away from your prior engagement and snag up your books before you have to run home to your significant other. If you don't have a significant other, don't worry, I'm in the same boat. So I got my comics anyway and didn't have to worry about that. But hopefully, everyone has a good Valentine's Day. Hopefully, it's filled with at least friends and some interaction with human beings. Even if it's just me tonight. So, happy Valentine's Day. But you're not here for that. You're here for my pull list this week. So let's get right into it. First up, we have Action Comics number 997. We're getting closer to 1,000 people. Continuing on the story arc with Superman and Booster Gold. Yep, it's been really, really fun. I can't wait to see how everything pans out and leads into issue 1,000. So, fingers crossed. Next up, we have Bloodshot Salvation, number 6 from Jeff Lemire. Again, he's been doing a fantastic job on Bloodshot. I really, really enjoy it. It's just a really good book. My Valiant titles have been a little wonky lately due to the fact that we changed over to a new POS system at the shop, and also because product comes in damaged sometimes, and that seems to be the case with some of the Valiant books. So, the big title this week that everybody should be snagging up, that's Dark Knights Rising: The Wild Hunt. This is from Scott Snyder and Grant Morrison. This is the book they added into the lineup late in the game. Excited to see it, but I'm also really, really wanting Metal to wind down and finish up. One thing that I noticed some people have been having issues with Metal, which is something that I saw they had issues with when Scott Snyder was writing Batman, especially Zero Hour, is that Scott is a really great writer. The problem is the pacing of his books requires that they come out on a little bit of a faster schedule. With Zero Hour, people got bored because nothing was necessarily happening, or wasn't happening enough, and waiting month to month to month for something that took about a year to do. There's only a certain type of book that can actually do that, and it's very difficult to do. But Scott's Metal has been fantastic and great. I just really want it to tie up. So that way I can read the whole thing and enjoy it all at once. Because I find that reading Scott Snyder story arcs in their entirety, they're a great read, and there's tons of stuff sometimes that you miss with little Easter eggs and hints that he drops in the books. But I'm looking forward to Dark Knights Rising: The Wild Hunt. Yep. Next up, we have Detective Comics number 974, Night's Fall. Clayface has been having some difficulty, and we're going to hopefully see the aftermath of what happened to him. So, yeah, we'll see. Next up, we have The Flash, Perfect Storm. This is issue 40. I think we're kind of just treading a little bit of water in the Flash title. I know Williamson? Yeah, Williamson is building up to Flash Wars that's coming out later this year, but I think that we're just treading water a little bit here to get to Flash Wars, but Flash is really, really good. So I don't mind that we're necessarily treading waters, but I'm super stoked to see what happens in Flash Wars coming out this year. Next up, we have Gotham City Garage number 9, and this collects digital issues 17 and 18, or chapters 17 and 18. I've been enjoying it so far, so I'm going to keep going with Gotham City Garage. Next up, we have Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 38, Zod's Will. Yep, Zod's popped up in a few books with DC lately, and yeah, he's kicking ass. So we'll see how Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps fare against him. Next up, we have Justice League of America, number 24, and yes, that is Promethea. They have pulled Promethea from Alan Moore's stuff into the DCU, so I'm curious to see what they do with that. Next up is a book that's been slightly delayed, yeah, I kind of want the main series back, but this is Lazarus X plus 66, number 6 of 6. That's a lot of sixes, I know. So this finishes off the Lazarus mini-series that's been going on. But I really want to get back to Lazarus. Even though it's a slow burn, it's a really good book. For those of you who are curious about checking it out, I do recommend picking up the trades. That'll probably be the best way. Don't go and hunt down single issues. It's not necessarily a title that's good in single issue. I enjoy single issues, so I read it month to month, or every other month, or a few months. I don't. But overall, it's good. It's just really slow. Next up, we have a book that you might pass over, but I don't know if you want to, but you probably will. But that is the Mr. Miracle #1 Director's Cut. Mr. Miracle by Tom King with art by Mitch Gerardis is fantastic. This will give you a black and white version of the comic, as well as the script, plus a little other extra stuff. But one thing key is there's a... I wouldn't call it a backup story because it's in the front. It's kind of an origin story of Scott Free, aka Mr. Miracle. So you might want to pick it up to check that out. Hopefully that's something that they include in the collected edition. So for those of you who don't necessarily want to snag up a director's cut for $6, I would say wait for that collection, or I don't know, see if your friend who bought it will let you read it. I haven't read it. I'm just picking it up to check that out and throw it in with my Mr. Miracle stuff. Next up, we have Ninja K #4. I've been enjoying the story so far. Didn't necessarily need to be rebooted, but I understand what Valiant's doing with the character. No, not really. They shouldn't have rebooted. They just sort of kept going. Because the story continues from the previous series. And yeah, it's not that big of a jump in the context of the story to justify a new #1. Kind of the same way with Bloodshot. I understand they changed the name to the title of the book, but it doesn't necessarily need that. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm still enjoying it. Next up, we have Ragman #5 of 6. This has been an interesting miniseries so far, so I'm going to keep going with it. Ragman is an interesting character. Their new design for him in this Rebirth universe is pretty cool. He's not a really well-known character, but he is interesting. So, oh, what is this? Okay, Red Hood and the Outlaws #19. Yep, it's okay. Red Hood and the Outlaws is just a good book. Pick it up, read it, enjoy it. Can't, just wait for the next one. Next up, we have a fun title, and that's Scooby Apocalypse #22. I've been enjoying Scooby Apocalypse just because it's fun and interesting to see the gang try and figure out what's going on in this post-apocalyptic world that Wilma somehow dumped them in. Yeah. Good stuff. Fun stuff. Next up, we have Suicide Squad #35, Drain the Swamp Part 1. Williams is back writing, so yay! Not that Cy Superior's art or two-issue arc was bad. It was actually not bad. I want to get back to reading my book and not worrying whether or not I'm going to like it. So, next up, we have Titans #20, and apparently the Titans are finished. Donzo, no longer around. Yeah, this pays homage to, I don't remember the exact issue, but another Titans comic that had a similar cover to it. I don't know, it seems like the Justice League and the Titans are always breaking up or rostering, whatever. It kind of gets old. I kind of wish they would, stick with stuff and go with it. But I know Titans is going to be one of the books I think affected by the No Justice stuff that Scott Snyder's doing in a few months. So we'll see. And last up on my pull list is Wonder Woman Swan's Song. This is issue 40. Wonder Woman's been good since Robinson took over. Not as solid as the Rucka stuff, but still good and readable and enjoyable. So I do recommend it. But yeah, I've been enjoying that. I did snag up some variant covers. I grabbed the variant cover for Action number 997, right there. Terry Dodson did actually the regular cover on Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, so I picked one up there because I like Dodson and sometimes his art's good. Next up we have Detective Comics number 974. That's the variant there. Flash, of course, had a variant for issue 40, so I decided to pick that one up. Suicide Squad had a pretty cool one. I thought that was interesting art, especially for something like Suicide Squad. Art Germ did the Supergirl cover for issue 18 and kind of did an old school version, which I thought was pretty awesome. And of course the totally awesome Wonder Woman number 40 variant. So yeah, I did also pick up something I special ordered, and that is the Harley Quinn Red, White, and Black Harley Quinn statue by Stanley Art Germ Lau. Can't wait to pop this open. This is a small one, much like these two up here. So yeah, so basically, hopefully I'll get to opening this fairly soon. Because yeah, this one's pretty dope and I want to get it up and displayed. So yeah, yeah, I did open the Starfire, so you should check out the video on the DC Bombshell Starfire. She's right there. Yep. And I also picked up a graphic novel or hardcover this week, and that is for Batman and the Outsiders Volume 2. Now this collects Batman and the Outsiders Annual number 1 and issues 14 through 23. I love Batman and the Outsiders. This was the first comic I remember picking up with Batman and the Outsiders number 1 from Brian's Books way back in the day when I was a kid. I bought it for $5. I thought I was like, Batman's quitting the Justice League. What is up with this? And so I've kind of had an infatuation with Batman and the Outsiders for a long time. I have I have most of these issues or all of these issues to bind, but I haven't actually gotten to mapping it out and finalizing it and getting my bind done. So they released these hardcovers, and I was like, oh, great. So like a sucker, I got them. Now this one is $49.99, and as you can see, it's that thin. Now this contains 11 issues. That's 10 plus the annual. Yeah. I want to compare something for you real quick. So the Batman and the Outsiders Volume 1, which this was the first comic I remember purchasing. This cover right here for issue 1. This contains Brave and the Bold 200. It also contains Batman and the Outsiders 1 through 13 and New Teen Titans 37. So it contains 14 actual comics and the Batman and the Outsiders stuff from Brave and the Bold 200. That's a significant amount more than what this one holds. Yeah, so side by side, they look okay. But if you put them together and you show the spines, we definitely have a distinct difference in the size and disbursement of this. So when this sits on the shelf, it's going to be big, small. Big, small. Volume 1, Volume 2. And they're both $50. DC has gotten a lot of flack for this a couple of times. Namely, they got it for the Flash omnibuses, and yeah, they got them huge for their Jeff Johns Flash omnibuses because they were priced ridiculous and the sizes were all over the place. $50 for 15 issues worth of content is fine. You know, you get 14 issues and this extra stuff. That's about 15 issues worth of material. That's okay. It's stretching it, but it's okay. It's nice and hardcover, oversized hardcover. The issue that I have is the $50 for 4 issues less of content and making the book significantly smaller. I'm not sure about Volume 3, and I don't really know how they're, like, what's going to happen if the next one's going to be this ginormous one. But whoever's doing the mapping of these graphic novels at DC needs to be shot. Or at least, I don't know, learn to look at somebody's collection on an actual bookshelf, because you will piss people off if the conformity, if it doesn't look at least somewhat uniform. Yeah. So it's a slight disappointment, but I'm a sucker for Batman and the Outsider, so I picked it up. So, yeah. Uh, that's it for this week. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. There'll be a link down in the description below where you can follow my Twitter, my fellow conspirators out, who also, because you can also listen to me on the Comics Conspiracy podcast. There won't be a link for this week's episode because we had a little snafu when we not with our recording, but with the shop itself. So I had asked you guys to give me good PG or G-rated questions for my kids, because we're going to do a Patreon special where we have the kids answer some questions that listeners posed to them. And I got everything set up. I showed them how I set up everything, got all the mics set up, and they were excited to get going. My son was excited. My daughter was just getting used to the mic. We had just started recording, and Ryan calls me from the back of the shop going, "I need you now." And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "I need you now, Brock." So I had to stop recording. I went in the back, and the sewer drainage hole in our bathroom was overflowing, which flooded about half of our back room. So we spent that night not podcasting. We spent it clearing out stuff so it wouldn't get damaged, so that we, basically had to deal with calling a plumber and carpet cleaner, and it was just a huge fiasco. So we didn't get to do the Comic Conspiracy Kiddos podcast for you guys. I do have those questions. We will get to that hopefully within the next few weeks. So stay on the lookout for that, especially if you're a Patreon backer. But it's going to be Patreon exclusive for a while. It will eventually most likely come out for everybody later. But if you want to listen to it for as little as $1 a month, you can help us through Patreon at www.patreon.com/comicsconspiracy, and you'll get access to that little extra content. So yeah, there'll be a link in the description below for you to check out the podcast in general, but no new episode is up for this week. So we should be back to normal next week. So needless to say, this video is late because of that, and just a ton of stuff. It throws off the whole week, but what can you do? So, again, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BrockSager. Again, leave those comments down in the comment section below. I don't think I said that earlier, but maybe if I did. Yeah, I'll see you next week.